Welcome to the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology virtual board meeting. Before the meeting is called to order, we will play a short video to explain procedures for this virtual meeting and how members of the public can participate and interact with the board during the meeting.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking, as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on as well as their video cameras.
Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
Okay, aloha everyone. As a reminder to the public, if you're accessing this meeting by the internet, to view the meeting and provide live oral testimony, please use the link at the top of the agenda. You will be asked to enter your name. The board requests that you enter your full name, but you may use a pseudonym or other identifier if you wish to remain anonymous. You will also be asked for an email address. You may fill in this field with any entry in an email format, such as your name at anymail.com. Your microphone will be automatically muted when the chairperson asks for public testimony. You may click to raise hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about the agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you are finished speaking. If you're accessing by phone, if you cannot get internet access, you may get audio-only access by calling the Zoom phone number listed at the top of the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you will be promoted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you're admitted into the meeting. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may indicate you want to testify by entering star and then 9 on your phone keypad. After entering star and the number 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing star and then the number 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you are finished speaking, please enter star and then the number 6 again to mute yourself. For both the internet and phone access, when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony. And I will now conduct a roll call of the board members to call to order the meeting. When your name is called, please state that you are present and state if you are alone or if any other individuals are present. Myself, Rainette Hall, is present and alone. Michael Pasta,
Present and alone.
Leslie Murata,
Present and alone.
and Ashley Cornelio.
Present and alone.
Okay. So at this point, we're gonna go into approval of May 14th, 2024, public and executive session minutes. Are there any members of the public who would like to provide oral testimony on this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. This is Johnny. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay, and are there any amendments to the board meetings and open session minutes? I didn't see any. Anybody else? No. Okay, if there are no amendments, then is there a motion to approve the board meetings and open session and executive session minutes?
I move to accept the board meetings as stated.
Do I have a second? Can I second it?
Sure.
Okay, Rainette Hall second. All in favor say yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes. All opposed say no. Okay, motion is carried. So we're, okay, at this point, do we do executive session?
Sorry,
Or-
Chair. We have a raised hand from Margaret Williams.
Margaret is still muted.
Host has stopped my video, so that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
We can hear you, Margaret.
I read the minutes and I'm afraid it seems to say that nail technicians cannot touch any type of disorder or disease of nails. And
We're not-
I don't believe I said no disorders or diseases. I said what was infectious is what they cannot touch. if
Can
they
can you tell us what page, Margaret?
Shoot. Do I have, I don't think I have the minutes here. I read it. It was, I think, the first item on the agenda. Oops. It infers.
It's pages 4 and 5 of the minutes. You recall where that is that we need to look at?
Sorry, I'm trying to pull him up. To poll the other board members, did you intend for them not to be able to touch anything if they are professional enough to be able to recognize disorders instead of diseases that are not infectious?
What I saw in the notes was that we said that they were not to diagnose anything.
Right.
No, I
But-
didn't,
Diagnosing is actually determining whether it's safe to touch or not.
Okay, so this, it would be helpful to know where in the minutes, what paragraph we're looking at. But are you talking
Sorry.
about the paragraph that states, on page 5, towards the middle, E.O. Shahan stated that she will respond to Team Meticulous's email that 439A16 does say that a license can be revoked, suspended, or not renewed for professional misconduct or gross negligence. The standard of care in the profession is if there is any irregularity to the nail, to refer the client to a podiatrist or dermatologist. The board concurred and directed E.O. Shahan to include copies of the pages Chair Williams provided. Is that where your concern is, or am I looking at the wrong spot?
I don't remember. I do remember it. There's a paragraph that starts with the chair said no.
Oh, The chair, this is the first paragraph on page 5. The
I'm not
chair
sure.
stated
Yeah.
what they are saying is no, they have to send their clients to the doctors. Is there any law on that? The only law that they can quote from the rules and laws is that is required to follow general practice to the public.
Well, the way the minutes are written, it seems to infer that manicurists cannot do the job that they're supposed to be doing, which is taking care of people who have disorders that are terrible, and they'd love to get them done. As long as they're not infectious and the manicurist is senior enough to be able to do it, I believe they should be able to do it. And I think something should be added to the minutes in that sense.
I think that it says
I
on
know you've already
vice chair
voted it.
stated. That kind of covers what.
Okay, perhaps we've covered that already on page 5 with the paragraph. The vice chair stated that irregularity to the nail may not necessarily mean it's a fungus. If the nail technician took their theory and training, they would recognize these different types of infections.
Yeah.
Mm,
And that's basically saying if you're senior enough and you have the knowledge, you would not take or you would take the client.
Okay, you do read it as such because I don't. I read it as no, don't touch anybody. That
It-
doesn't look
If you
exactly.
continue reading on, it does state that we said it
It's not
should be,
fungus, not that it's not, that you can't work on it.
if the person has fungus, they shouldn't be working on it.
Right. But what they're saying is it might not be fungus, but they're not saying it could be other disorders and not diseases that you can work on it. I just didn't understand it. If that's the case, other people do understand that you can do it. Just be sure that it is written that way, please. I only read it once and I haven't been able to
So
find
Andrew,
it.
they've already voted to approve the minutes. Can we make changes or can we just
Yeah, I think
notate this
if they want to make
conversation?
changes, they can make changes. You just
Um,
revote.
Okay, so we've already had a vote, so if you want me to make changes to the minutes, we can do that, but we need a revote on what we're going to change to the minutes. So if the board wants something changed, we could
I
indicate
actually,
what that
I-
is.
I think it states everything because Margaret, the chair stated that what they're saying is no, they have to send their clients to the doctors. That's because we can't diagnose them. So, because prior to the disorders and diseases, we talk about that the Milady book, we state all of that stuff. I don't think any changes need to be made. It's all said in, if you read the whole thing, not just your section saying that you said no. Margaret.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were talking to me. If you feel that it is saying that you can work on it, that's fine with me. I just don't want to restrict them from doing anything that they should be able to do.
Yeah,
Yes,
I,
maybe it's this
I think
paragraph
what
right here.
Renette said in that paragraph regarding the irregularity to the nail may not necessarily mean it is fungus. And it just says that if the technician took their theory and training, they would recognize the different type of infection. And I think that's telling us to let the technician determine,
Determined.
you know.
Okay. Okay, if you see it that way, that's good. I just like it to be super clear. I appreciate it. I'm sorry to bother.
No,
That's
no,
okay.
it's
very
all good.
helpful.
Yeah. As I?
Okay, Chair Hall, if I understood the motion, it was for both the public and executive sessions. If I misunderstood that, let me
It
know.
was both executive and public.
Okay, thank you.
Now the board may enter. I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point. I'm sorry. First time as
That's
chairperson.
okay. So we did item number 2, and it's item number 3 now. So ask if there's any public testimony, and then
Okay,
Rhonda or I will take over.
okay, so is for the executive officer
Yeah.
report.
Correct.
Okay, is there any public testimony for the executive officer report? Yes, no?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay,
Okay, so we're gonna tag team this. The first thing to bring up is the ethics training for our board members. We are required to do ethics training as board members every 4 years. Leslie, you're good until November 2024. You don't have to
Okay.
take ethics training. Just make sure you do it before November 5, okay?
Okay,
Raynette, you're good until August 2026. Michael, you're good until September 2026. And Ashley, I was unable to see if you'd done your ethics training yet or not. You still have a little bit of time as a new board member. Do you recall doing ethics training, or do I need to send you the information?
I submitted it.
Okay, it just wasn't posted yet. Okay, great. We'll get your dates down and remind you when it's time. Okay, your turn.
And I'm gonna give the record of candidate exam for May and June. I'll start with May. Barber's exams given were 9. 5 passed, 4 failed. Cosmetologists, 20 exams, 8 passed, 12 failed. Esthetician exam, 41 exams, 25 passed, 16 failed. Hairdresser, 2 exams, 1 passed, 1 failed. No instructor exams for May. Nail technician, 27 exams, 7 passed, 20 failed. See for June. Barber exams, 9 exams, 5 passed, 4 failed. Cosmetologist, 14 exams, 4 passed, 10 failed. Estheticians, 61 exams, 40 passed, 21 failed. Hairdresser, 1 exam, 1 pass. That's it. Instructor, no instructor exams. Nail technician, 13 exams, 5 passed, 8 failed. And that's it for June.
That's all we had this time.
That's it, Rena.
Raynette, you're muted. Oh, you see, okay.
I'm not used to my phone. I'm used to my computer. Sorry. Okay, so agenda number 4, applications. Are there any members of the public who would like to provide oral testimony on this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay, is there a motion to go into executive session to consider and evaluate personal information relating to individuals applying for licensure pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statutes 92-5A1 and 92-5A4?
Yes, I move.
Okay, Michael Bosta.
I second.
Okay,
Let's move out to second.
all in favor, say yes. Yes.
All right,
Yes.
Michael.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
All who oppose, say no. Motion is carried.
Okay, Courtney's gonna move us into a breakout room for executive session. So if you get a ask, move to it, say yes, okay? And we're gonna have to ask you to head out for just a moment. Probably an hour.
No problem.
Okay. Is everybody back? Okay. Is
Yes,
there,
Chair.
is there a motion to approve the recommendations on the applications for exam and license and beauty school and ratification list?
Yeah, here we go. I move that the board approve Chelsea Govea for apprenticeship with conditions. Benjamin Patrick to take the examination. Rebecca Blessum for examination with waiver. Or I'm sorry, for examination waiver. Amber Ledesma Quinata for examination with conditions. University of Hawaii, Maui Community College for beauty school, pending documentation.
You see Benjamin Patrick?
Yeah.
Patrick.
Did I see something wrong?
Just to clarify, Benjamin Sundall is Patrick Benjamin Sundall.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
And finally, licenses on the ratification list.
I second the motion. All in favor, say yes.
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 All opposed, say no. Motion is carried. Now we go on to agenda number 5, correspondence. Are there any members of the public who would like to provide testimony, oral testimony on this agenda?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
We have someone in here in the conference room that would like to provide testimony. Please come, pull your chair up and.
Can I stand?
Oh yeah, if you want to stand, that's fine. Introduce yourself and give us your testimony.
Thank you, everybody, for allowing me to speak. My name is Brianna Laimana Whitney. I do go by the name of Bree. My students do call me Miss Bree. I am the one who submitted the email to the board. I am a licensed cosmetologist as well as a licensed barber and a licensed instructor. When I teach my students, in theory, it's cohesive with state laws and regulations. State laws and regulations are to be read from left to right, right to left, top to bottom, and diagonally. My students are not allowed to assume anything. It's always what's right in front of them. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. So, I just want to explain that I became a licensed cosmetologist. I also attended a hairdressing school, an esthetician school. I also attended a manicuring school, as well as a barber school and a school for my instructor's license. But according to the state of Hawaii, I'm only a licensed cosmetology instructor. Upon attending all of those schools, I was only allowed to get 3 licenses out of 6. I was denied licensing. So the reason why that I brought it up was because a barber can practice with a hairdresser and an esthetician, and they can learn from an esthetician, correct?
No.
Just the hairdresser.
Yeah, so I went ahead and pulled the new law.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar, but
No, I didn't.
438 and 439 were repealed in July 2022.
Okay.
The new statute is 439A.
Okay.
And 439A2 states that barber apprentices may train under a cosmetologist or a hairdresser for the hairdressing portion of training.
Correct.
So
Okay.
not an esthetician.
Not an esthetician.
Not a nail, definitely not a nail technician, but only cosmetologists and hairdressers, and only for the hairdressing portion. Obviously, a cosmetologist and a hairdresser cannot teach shaving,
Correct.
so only the hairdressing portion.
So my concern was, if I'm not allowed to get all 6 licenses, Why would a barber want to train without a barber? And not a hairdresser or a cosmetologist? Why would they choose to do that if they're becoming a barber? That was my actual question.
So we can't read into the minds of the barber apprentices.
Correct.
Why they would want to do that. It could be that their friend is an apprentice, is a cosmetologist or a hairdresser. And, or they know somebody that they feel is very good at that and they want to train under them for that portion. But that does mean that they have to do 2 registrations. They have to register as a barber apprentice under the cosmetologist and the hairdresser and do all those hours for the hairdressing portion. Then once that is finished, they have to register for a second apprenticeship under a barber to learn
And
the
so is it
bar-
like a manicurist took a manicuring class and then became an esthetician who became a hairdresser in order to become a cosmetologist?
Yeah.
Is that what
Well,
concept wise?
well, I don't want to get into that training. I want to stick on this training so that the barber apprentice would need 2 apprenticeship registrations in order to complete the barbering training, because the cosmetologist and hairdresser cannot teach shaving
Correct.
and mustaches and so forth. So they are forced, they by necessity, they have to have 2 registrations, which means they're paying double for their apprenticeships. But they're not learning things outside the scope of a barber.
Okay, perfect.
So I hope that's clarifying to you.
That's much better
Okay, okay,
compared to what I had heard from the last meeting.
okay, so it's just a little confusing from the last meeting.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. The one thing that I believe at the last meeting, they said that a cosmetologist could teach the
Facial part.
facial part, because
That's-
cosmetologists also do that, but hairdressers cannot,
Correct.
because hairdressers do not do the facial massage part. They only
Correct.
do hair.
Correct.
So,
Okay, well, that clears that up for me.
well, I'm
Thank
glad
you.
we was helpful. Did the board have anything further they wanted to add? I kind of jumped into your lane. No, okay.
That's it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
With all of his knowledge, with all of your knowledge, you should probably apply to be on board member.
Yeah. I actually did.
No,
Oh, wow, okay, we may have had, but, so there's requirements for board members, we can only have so many beauty operators and so many barbers at a time. So it may have just been, we were full at that time, so.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, think about it again,
I will. Thank you very much.
thank you.
thank you. Okay, now on to new business. Are there any members of the public that would like to provide oral testimony on the agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide testimony.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a couple of things that we as EOs wanted to ask the board. The first item has to do with applicants that have a single DUI and have completed the terms of whatever the court imposed on them. They have no fees outstanding, they have no incarceration they have to complete, they're not under probation or parole. To save the board's time, would the board like to delegate the responsibility of reviewing that and approving those individuals to the EOs or the chair rather than reviewing them in the board meetings? Or does the board feel like they want to see those applications either way?
I was wondering, does it have to only be single DUIs? What if somebody has multiple convictions from 1975 and they've paid their dues and everything, and we don't have to look at it?
But it's X number of years in the past?
Well, I'm just saying that they paid all their dues, they don't have parole, they don't have probation. Everything is done on their end, but it's just they have convictions on their resume. That's if it's.
So just to add, so, you know, these these applications come to the board because it's up to the board's discretion, and the EOs don't have the discretion to approve these applications because there's a criminal conviction. So if the board wants to delegate them the authority to do so, you have to be very specific on that delegation, so the EOs they know what to do and what's beyond the scope of what they're delegated.
Well, just like the DUI, the single DUI, if that person has paid their fines, done their duty according to the courts, that would be great. Then they can move on with their careers. But even those who have more than one, if they've already paid all their dues, no probation, no, it seems almost like the same thing as a DUI if it's already paid and done. Whenever we read through these people's stuff, I'm like, why do I need to know I don't need to know all this information. That's private. But I know it's our job.
Remember, one of the main purposes of the board is to protect the public.
Yes.
So if a person has convictions, some convictions are much more egregious than others, right? Some convictions probably wouldn't affect the public. Generally, barbers and beauty operators are not driving as part of their job, which is one of the reasons why we thought this might be something you might delegate.
Okay.
Theft, however, people in beauty shops put their purse down and just leave them and walk back to get their hair done, right?
That's
Or just don't pay attention to their belongings because they're, relaxed because someone's doing their nails or whatever. Drug use, of course, most of the time by the time folks get to us, they've addressed their addictions and they're in recovery and they're doing well. But oh dear, are we good? Is everyone still there?
We're here, but I'm having some.
Yuko
whole
has
screen
her
come
white
up.
screen on.
Yeah, we have a white screen. There we go. Okay. So because it's a matter of public safety, that might be one of the reasons why if the convictions are thefts or drug use or assault.
Okay.
Those are things that I think as executive officers, we feel it's the board's responsibility to protect the safety of the public. But generally our licensees are not driving as part of their job.
Okay.
And so if they've had a DUI and they've taken care of it and it doesn't seem to be repetitive, it's not several DUIs, it's like one DUI, it's a one-off. We feel like that's not endangering the safety of the public if you delegate that authority to us.
Yeah, I have no problem delegating that. It's a one-off DUI. I mean, I don't need to see it.
What are the chances that this particular person wouldn't get approved if they have a standing DUI? Would that interfere with approval for their licensing or?
When you say standing, do you mean like it's still open? Like they
Yeah,
haven't
or like if
completed?
they're still in the process, is it still going to be approved with conditions?
Well, that would still come to, if it was still open, that the terms hadn't been completed, that would be something that the EOs would still bring to the board because it hasn't been finalized. And the board would make that determination if they wanted to move forward with conditions or if they wanted to wait until the court decided what the final terms would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Les, do you have any questions before I motion?
Yeah, no, I agree with what the EOs is saying because a single happening DUI, is one time and they haven't repeated any offenses. then it's good. But yeah, you know, any other offense or assault or theft or stealing or whatever, you know, there's temptation. And that's why we should be able to see how often that person did it, when they did it, how long ago they did it, and then we can make the decision as a board.
Okay.
So I agree with that.
Okay. So I motion to approve that we delegate single or the DUIs to the EOs.
I second, left second.
When the sentence is completed.
So I have to read the whole thing. Is that it? I motion to that the responsibility, we give it to the executive officer or chairperson to approve barber and beauty operator apprenticeships and license applications with DUI convictions pursuant to HRS section 46B-8. So now Les can second, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Les Morata seconds it.
Okay. Do I have to, all in favor say yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now on to 6B, Administrative Rules Committee pursuant HRS 436B-7 and 439A-5.
Yeah, so as you know, 2 years ago, you finally got through your statute revision from the boards, the Board of Barbering and the Board of Cosmetology merging 20 odd years ago. And you have one Hawaii revised statute now instead of two. That means that now it's time to get your two Hawaii administrative rules combined into one. And make all the updates that over the past 20 years throughout the minutes, it says, we should include that when we do our rules update. To do this, generally what happens is you put together a rules committee that does the legwork and then reports to the full board. A committee would need to be less than a quorum. Otherwise we move into sunset law, so.
Yeah, so I would recommend that the board assign, if they want to assign a rules committee, to assign 2 people to be part of the rules committee. And those 2 people can talk to each other and about the rules and update the rules on their own outside of Sunshine, so they don't need to have a public meeting. And they can update the board and let them know what changes that they, I guess, recommend to the board when they're ready. And I would say 2, because if there's 3, then there's a very specific guidelines and specific rules that need to be followed if there's more than 2 people. So that's all I'd recommend too.
So it will take some work. You have two separate sets of rules that need to be referenced. I will assist you in finding in the minutes things that previous boards wanted addressed in the new rules. But it'll be basically creating the new rule with some help from the past rules. But if there were 2 people that would be interested and would like to volunteer today, or if you want to think about it and volunteer at our next meeting, we can push it back to then as well. But
I would recommend a cosmetologist and a barber, because you're gonna get both sides of the apple. You know, you're not only seeing one side, you're seeing one or the other side. So you're seeing one of the cosmetology and one of the barber. I mean,
So
that's what I would recommend.
a beauty operator and a barber.
Yeah, beauty and a barber.
Well, I'm a nail technician. I'm willing to be on the rules committee. I'm a nail technician, a business salon owner, and I'm a salon visitor. I am a customer as well. But it's up to you guys. I'm happy to volunteer as one of them.
Okay.
Margaret has her hand up.
Chair, we have a hand up, although, are you willing to accept, testimony at this time?
Sure, I guess. It's Margaret.
Okay, go ahead and, turn on Margaret's, microphone.
Trying
Hi,
to.
Margaret. Did you have something to say?
Just wondering if I can be on that committee, because that was what I wanted to do the whole 10 years I was on the board.
Public input is at a later date, right?
I'll have to look more into that, but yeah. It should be okay, but maybe we can get back to that question.
Okay,
later.
Okay, well, we're gonna have to look up and see how that can work, Margaret.
thank you.
Okay. So Andrew's gonna look into that.
So that means we have to wait until you folks find out and we do this all over at our next meeting.
We can assign the 2 people now.
I think, Andrew recommends that we, get 2 people on the board now, and then we can report back at the next meeting about a third.
Oh, I
I
see.
think-
If we
help
have
with that.
someone. You'd like to help with that, Ashley?
Yeah, I can help with the
Okay.
barbering. for sure.
Okay.
We can vote to have them part of the rules committee.
Okay, so, Andrew says we should make an official vote of the rules committee at this point with, Raynette and Ashley. And then we can, revisit next time with the other, if we, when he finds out about a third.
So would I motion that Ashley and I be a part of the rules committee?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Michael.
Anytime.
I have a question.
Michael's just so long as I am not on the on the rules committee.
But I do have a question that if we have questions, like if Ashley and I are working on it and we want to ask Michael, or we want to, I mean, if we have a question for Margaret, are we allowed to call them and ask them these questions?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. That's at a later point.
Okay,
Right now, you're just putting together the draft.
okay,
And I will get you both copies of the actual rules. And I'm still going through old minutes to find things that the boards in the past have said we should address this when we do our rules. So I'm trying to get that information together.
sounds good.
Was there a vote or did we just have the motion?
We just motioned
Oh,
everyone.
no, Michael seconded.
No, that's right.
Yeah, Michael seconded, and all in favor say yes. Yes.
Yes.
That's
And then now do we go on to C?
Yes.
Okay, election of chair and vice chair pursuant to HRS 436B-6A. So I guess I volunteer as chair, or
And I would like to volunteer as vice chair.
Would you
Oh.
like to make a motion to accept those volunteers, or does someone have something they'd like to say?
Yes, I move to accept them.
I second.
okay, all in favor, say yes.
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 Okay,
Yes.
we can move on to the next meeting. Or is there anything else we need to talk about before I do this?
That's all I have.
Ooh, okie dokie. I think this is the fastest meeting ever. Next meeting will be November 12th, 2024 at 12 p.m. virtual video conferencing or at Queen Liliuokalani Conference Room. And do I have to motion to adjourn? I don't even know.
Oh, you don't have to motion to adjourn. You just adjourned. That's the power of the chair.
Now, you make it sound so fun, but it's not as, it's a little stressful. All right, meeting is adjourned. Have a nice day, everybody.
Everyone have a good one.
Yeah,
Thank you,
too.
everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, man.
Bye.
I have one
No.
question. When was
Oh.
my ethics committee due again?
November, prior to November 5, 2024,
Oh, this year.
this year. But before, you know, do it sometime October, November, early,
Oh, okay,
September, October would be great.
okay.
Can you guys shoot me and Ashley an email so we can correspond with each other? Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Bye, everybody.